let's offspring here. Then I can play this land because I'm not going to miss out on any damage here. I'm going to be able to shoot a ton upstairs. This will trigger. We get the land and then shoot another ton upstairs. Hello everyone and welcome back. Today we're going to be playing Golgari Lands. If you are subscribed to Covert Go Blue, you'll notice that he just uploaded a video that played this, and I think it was titled, I really hope this is good, and so do I. I love Golgari, and I love me some Blossoming Tortoise, and Tortoise is such a sick card. I was so excited to see a list kind of come together and seemed to perform well, at least according to his video, it seemed to perform well, and I decided to take upon myself to play the list and make a couple of changes so it's not the exact carbon copy of the list, because I wanted to focus on something a little bit different. And that is, alongside of kind of doing the combo, which I'll talk about here in a second, we have a ton of ramp with the Freestrider Lookout being able to put lands on the battlefield and Blossoming Tortoise. So I opted to squeeze in the virtues of persistence to make sure that I'm recurring back to Shielders or back to Vinelashers if needed, or Bristly Bills or things like that. So we trimmed in a couple of spots, and I'll go over kind of what the plan of the deck is right now. So I have this card in, obviously this card was also in his list, but Iridescent Vinelasher, a lizard all-star if you would, as it does a lot of damage and helps trigger all the effects of the lizards and the lizards decks. But here we are using it for its landfall ability. It is primary function. Whenever a land you control enters the battlefield, it deals 1 damage to target opponent. That works incredibly well because it does target with our Freestrider Lookout. Freestrider Lookout says whenever you commit a crime, look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may put a land card from among them onto the battlefield, tapped, and then put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. The ability triggers only once each turn, so that works very well with Fabled Passage. Most likely we're going to play Fabled Passage, trigger the Vinelasher, target our opponent, have Freestrider Lookout trigger, hopefully hit a land, and when that land enters, it'll trigger the Vinelasher once again, having it deal 2 damage, and the Lookout will have ramped us. And then on our opponent's turn, we will then crack the Fabled Passage, doing that loop hopefully again, where we go and grab a basic out of our deck, and then Freestrider Lookout can hit another land. And hopefully, as you can tell, it's a creature land, so we can then untap with these lands, and because we have ramped so hard, we either have a Foundry with an additional one on the battlefield to make it a massive creature, or we can bring up this cottage and attack with it as well. Outside of that, we have the Blossoming Tortoise as another way for us to accelerate our mana or make extra land drops to trigger the Vinelashers a ton more. And it says whenever it enters or attacks, mill 3 cards, return land card from among the graveyard to the battlefield tapped. Activated abilities of land cost 1 less to activate. Very interesting with the Foundry here. So it makes Foundries, like, it's not a crew, but like to bring it up as a creature is 2 mana. Well, now it's 1, and then the other one requires 1 mana to tap it, attack, like tap it and make another creature larger. That is now 0. So for 1 mana, we can bring up a Foundry, and for 0 mana, we can activate another Foundry and grow them, or we can make the cottages come up for only 3 mana, which makes it substantially better because that allows us to open up a ton of more options whenever it comes to interacting with the board. Outside of that, we are a Golgari shell for the most part, with only 1 other card kind of in here that's different. And we have the Mosswoods, Deep Caverns, the Glissas, the Shielded. And for the final piece, outside of the cut down and go for the throats as well, with the virtues that we've already talked about, final piece is Bristly Bill, a very interesting card to be playing. This card is super sick. It's very good in Commander, but we're going to try to make it playable in Standard as well as CGB did. With its landfall ability, whenever a land you control enters, put a 1/1 counter on target creature. And then if we're looking at 5 mana, we can double the counters across the board. So if we do the combo with Vinelasher and Lookout with a Fabled Passage, if we happen to have Bristly Bill in play, because it just so happens to curve out into a 1, 2, and then 3 drop, even though we kind of want to stagger it sometimes. So it is actually a 2 drop, 3 drop, 4 drop. I know it sounds weird to do it that way, but we're most likely wanting to play a cottage. Play this on turn 2, play this on turn 3, play this on turn 4. That means we're going to trigger them all, and they'll all be hunky-dory, if you would. But with that said, let's go ahead and hop in the games and see if we can't figure out this deck list and make sure it all functions well, or if it's even worth doing in general. So outside of that, let's go dive in. If you enjoy my content, please consider subscribing. I truly appreciate it. Now let's just go game. Alright, my opponent goes first. I mean, this hand's pretty good, especially if we hit our 3-mana slot, because our Vinelashers are going to be fine, considering we have 3 of them. But let's see what we're up against. Who really knows? They're screaming they're a Boros player. Ooh, and we have a Fabled Passage. Okay. Depending what happens here, we'll kind of decide whether we play the Fabled Passage here first or not. Best case scenario is we can potentially play a Vinelasher, and then we can try to get to this Lookout with the Fabled Passage still up and available, just so we can kind of accelerate our mana a ton. With this, once again, where does the card... You may put a line card from up to the rest on the bottom. Correct. Okay. 2 mana for a Shielder's Edict to get that off the board. Interesting, to say the least. Since it looks like maybe we're a Rakdos slow pile, let's go ahead and draw. Go ahead and draw here. And then I want to do what? Play this into this, I guess. Definitely kind of slow it down. Really just wait to play this until we can accelerate its value. We only really need to get 1 Vinelasher in play, so I'm most likely looking to attack with our Mosswood here. And then Shieldred. I think this might be like a Discover pile combo, I guess, if you would. But now, even more so, I could just cycle the Mosswood and replay it. Or I can go for a Blossoming Tortoise, but I think Mosswood replay seems fine with me. Or is it Vinelasher here? Maybe it's Vinelasher. Oh no, because then I have Offspring on him. Yeah, I guess I just opt for this. And then next turn I can play a Vinelasher, I can play a Lookout, and then play the land. Do kind of that situation. We'll do it after a combat damages happen, because most likely they're going to look to remove our Mosswood Dread Knight. This also could be push-pull nonsense, where they put dinosaurs in there and go for that. Go to combat right away. They removed it last time. Maybe they'll remove it again here. They're thinking about it. And note, with Vinelasher in play, if we play the Lookout, and then we'll automatically get to play the land, and the target will happen. So it's not that they can do anything in response. So we're at combat. Our opponent hits the tank meter. See what happens. It could be playing Deadly Cover-Up as well. But this is an attacker, of course. They allow it. 2 free Freestrider Lookouts. I think I'm perfectly fine firing these off now. Do 1 of these. The second one, we're definitely looking to Offspring regardless of what happens. Because now they can obviously remove the Vinelasher, but the Lookout's so much worse. Target's automatically going to happen. Now, even if they remove the Lookout, the ability still happens. Thankfully, we found a land. And Vinelasher combo starting to happen. And now we end turn, and on their turn, we'll sack the Fabled Passage to get more value. Deadly Cover-Up could come in here. Carnosaur it is. Sure. Rosewood End is devastating as well. Cruelty of Gix. I can come in, look at our hand. Not entirely sold that they'll like it that much. Use a creature or non-land card from it, sure. So here's a thing that's interesting. Blossoming Tortoise is probably the worst thing they could have. I could fire off this Fabled Passage, but I think that's the wrong answer. Thankfully, we find another land. Yeah, so now I can do 1, 2, 3. Play this land. Then crack the Fabled Passage? Yeah. So it's Offspring here. Then I can play this land, because I'm not going to miss out on any damage here. I'm going to be able to shoot a ton upstairs. This will trigger. We get the land, and then shoot another ton upstairs. So we're hitting for 6. I have another 3 lined up, and I could potentially hit them for more. This... no attacks, I guess. In turn. Back. I want to do it before they tutor here, so they can't find like double removal spell. They allow it to happen. We get a swamp. Now these all go upstairs. Then 2 triggers here. We want 2 lands hit. Hit 1. And if this hits another land, it is lethal. You will see. Alright, what land would we like? And so now I have another 6 on the stack, which technically isn't lethal on its own, but their own Cruelty of Gix will trigger, dealing 3 damage to them. And just like that, we did the Wombo combo with the Freestrider Lookout, with the Vinelashers, and proved why Freestrider Lookout is indeed a cool card in Standard. Go first. Cool hand. We'll keep. I'm going to play a Vinelasher on one. I'm not really pumped about the 2 Foundries in hand. Where anytime I play Foundry in a deck, there are always like multiple of them in my opener. We'll play here. I might go for a Helix or something. They're screaming as they're a Boros player. They got Archangel. They played this, and the sleeves are Boros sleeves. This is what sleeves every Boros plays, I swear. It's absurd. Little impatient. They fire off the torch now. Saw Deep-Cavern Bat, my opponent. Let me take a look. Oh, you have 2. I see. I can take 1, but they'll just play the other one. Flanker is kind of annoying. I'm going to take the Sunfall. They're obviously going to play the Caretaker's Talent. I just have to try to win before it matters. Here, I'll just go ahead and pop this. Go grab a second Swamp. Then I'll look for play Shieldred, I guess. Could get to the Sunfall spot, but at least a turn away. Yeah, I'm definitely slamming a Shieldred here. Have them draw their extra cards if they'd like. Know their entire hand. They take a draw. They go to 16. Still a pause. This is the flanker. Just pausing everything. They play Fable. They crack Fable. Then right away. What's the play here? Urbrass Forge. Sure. Perfect. Oh, another card. Uh-huh. Leave it to him. They at least make a good play there. Guys sometimes notorious for making goofer plays. This is what? Pay 2, so 1, 2, and then it's 1. Yeah, a little bit weird. Go ahead and thin ourselves. I could opt to do the Deep-Cavern Bat plan, but I actually think it's better to just make sure I hit them for 4 here. Get rid of the torch, I suppose. Block Shieldred, it doesn't really matter what they block. Now down to 9. Potentially to 7. Okay. 7, and then if they didn't find an answer for Shieldred, they're at 5. Let's say rip Sunfall number 2. Be a few things. They go to combat, down to 5. Can't make another copy. I guess I could play a second Caretaker's Talent and then copy, but... Oh, we get through that turn. Alright. Don't need much to go right here. So let's fire off Deep-Cavern Bat. You can Helix here if they need to. Take a look. Go for Flanker, sure. In 2. Definitely has to block Shieldred regardless. I double the bottom. Take a look. Temporary Lockdown is the scary card because it answers both bats. Then I think I can just do this and win, right? 4, 5. Yeah, I guess the amount that has to go right is incredible for them to not lose here. Land and attack. Oh, it's 5, not 4. Shieldred hits for 4 and they lose. Okay, whatever. It's fine. Unless they rip the Helix. They could have ripped the Helix. But then they don't win regardless, right? Because it's just not enough. They die on crackback, but Sure. Sick. Very cool. I don't know. I said these are the Boros sleeves. So are we trusting my opinion? Not sure. I'm gonna go ahead and fetch. I'm good. I could get stifled, you know? I'm scared of getting stifled. Are you Boros? I mean, we'll find out very quickly what you are. Blue red land come down, they gain a life. Boros with extra steps. You kept a hand with no white mana. Okay. Please don't reward him. Game sucks. I understand I kept a like whatever hand, but at the same time, they kept a blue red land with an all white hand. At least my hand was like castable. I have to answer the caretaker's talent. The high noon doesn't bother me. We got to be a one land a turn gamer or one spell a turn gamer than we are. Although can't really beat much. With us missing a land, we're probably going to fall behind and die. Don't worry, we found another cut down, so we're ready to go. You can play Fountain Port, they can play the wall, or they can play High Noon. Opt for me not to play extra spells this turn, which is like kind of fine. Don't feel pumped about that. Are we wall gamers or are we not? I believe they're playing High Noon. What an interesting game. Oh, are we just playing Covert's deck list? Is this what he played? I saw a thumbnail. It's like so talented or whatever. I don't know. Thought maybe we should do that backwards. Right? Nah, I guess you gotta level it up regardless, so it doesn't really matter. This one, I suppose. Surprised I haven't gone for High Noon, but I've been missing lands too. Watch him rip a second white source off the top. Good are we? Ooh, good enough maybe. Hey, there we go. We can both play. Attack. Play this one. Now Glissa against the enchantment class deck is pretty good if it makes contact. Not a second white source. Very important. That matters a lot. This is becomes 2. Return target instant source card from your graveyard to your hand. Okay. Oh man, it really took you 4 minutes to figure that turn out, huh? That's crazy. Really took them that much time to figure that turn out, huh? If they rip white source for Sunfall, they rip white source for Sunfall, I guess. Yeah? You wanna make a token or something? Cool. We're sitting. How good are you? How good are you? Oh, it's so close. You can High Noon. The only option you got. Not a second white source. This mana punishing everything that they've done so far. Just 5 mana to crack this to shoot my Shieldred. That's fine. We'll be looking to cut down this token. They're looking to draw off of it, I would imagine. Again, I got 1 spell a turn. I'm gonna make it a good one. Hiya. Again, they can pop it and draw. We're trying to get every bit of damage in we can. Take a draw. Sure. Eventually, they'll find another white source. Bring this up. Moving to combat. We're attacking. Down to 5. I'm at 28. Because, of course, I am. Go to untap. Cast a spell. I was sick. Cast a spell. Go for it. Will they find the white? That already happened. So, okay. They got greedy and they drew the card first. If your plan is to high noon and play around it, just high noon. If you don't have it off that draw, high noon the card, please. Like, I don't know. Because now you know it's lethal. Like, that's the problem, right? If the option is either I rip it or die, or I pop this and kill the shielder before I draw, just shoot the shielder and then draw a card and hope you find a way to play this Biza, right? Because then if you can play the Biza, you're going to gain 4 life and make way more creatures and stuff. Not a great plan, but it is what it is. I kept a greedy hand. They kept a more greedy hand, and I got paid off. So that's fine. Opponent goes first. I have the Vinelasher ready, and kind of the way that we want to do Vinelasher. Weirdly enough, honestly, I guess I would like to play it on turn 1. We can play it on turn 2 regardless. Okay. They're on 5. We're actually virtuing this next turn if we can. But yeah. Swiss Spear, Scamp. Now it's weird. Because it's either answer Scamp or the hero. The hero requires another card. This can just do it. It also can remove my Deep-Cavern Bat next turn. So I guess I should do it this way. Because with 2 cards in hand, I feel like the answer is the Deep-Cavern Bat. Unless they play their whole hand here, which it looks like they are. Dude, nice small to 5. I'm at 10, and I'm just now going to turn 3. Okay. Yes, sir. Isn't it crazy that we kind of already need them to hit a land? I'll play here. I'll play this. And I guess, is it play Vinelasher or Deep-Cavern Bat? It's got to be Deep-Cavern Bat. And then Vinelasher looking to pick up the Swiss Spear. Deep-Cavern Bat looking to block the Slick Shot, I guess. This has Trample. I guess this is blocking. Boy. Not looking great. And a 6. Good draw regardless. This is good. I could double down on creatures, but I think the play shielded here. Obviously no attack. Dead spell. Dead card. It could be another creature. Ah, they found it, didn't they? That's tough. It's a tough day at the office. Playing it. Oh, it's a Scamp. Okay. Well, oh, go for the throat's huge. Go for the throat's big. Play here. Play this line tapped. Obviously, I'd love to play Glissa. I just don't think I can. Kind of weird here. And I got the whole go for the throat for the flyer. Let's see. Please draw a land. I'm begging for you to draw a land, please. Well, team. This is how this has to go. Go to 1. I've got nothing to say about that game. We are go first gamers here. Yeah, this hand's pretty fun. Against what is this sleeve? This is green, red, white? Is that what that color combination is? They just rotated out, by the way. Like, This is the first set of rotation out. And I'm like, I forget what the color combinations of the lands already are. But now we get to play Bristly Bill. And lose everything to a temporary lockdown, huh? That's wild. Oh, no. Perfect. Fine. I'll allow it. All right. Oh. So good. Now I feel like I can't play the Bristly Bill. I feel like I got to cut down this. Yeah, let's play Cottage here. Let's double ping our opponent. I'm not even risking it. I'm removing that. Attack. Now we have 4 damage, 6 damage, 7, 8 damage coming across the board potentially next turn. Okay. Am I the only one that thought Squee rotated? Or is that just me? I did not realize that Squee was the legal Magic the Gathering card my opponent could be playing. Here I'm growing Bristly Bill, I think. Because Bill is going to have to kind of be held back. And I would much rather him be able to survive the hold back. And now I can put a lot more onto him. Although I guess he ends up getting picked up by a Witchstalker Frenzy anyway. But play another 3-2, I'll attack. Get him down to 7. And we'll see what happens here. Another Fabled Passage is 100% lethal. Because Bristly Bill's doubling ability, double number 1/1 counters on each creature you control. So we'd play Fable. A land in general will be great. But we can play a land, put a counter on the Mosswood Dread Knight, and then stack the Fabled Passage, put another counter elsewhere. Probably still on Mosswood, I guess. Because of the amount of doubling and like how good doubling would do. Flick shot and what? Okay. Bill wants to attack. Mosswood also wants to attack. Do I want to cycle one of these? I think the answer is yes. Alright, we find a land. That is huge. Double ping. Bristly Bill. Yes, target here, so it's not an easy trade-off. And then move to combat. They're pretty much forced to block Bill, but they can do that with the 1/1. And then they have to block something else. So instead, it should be like this, I think. They're 100% going to have to block Bill, and then this is still lethal, so they have to block something else. Squee is like somehow worse, but fine. But sure, we'll play another creature. And now from 13 with 3 mana, we just have to hope they don't have lethal with the flyer in the air. Most likely we'll be double blocking the Swiss Spear and trying to use our toughness as 3 health. Charming Scoundrel helps us immensely. With the like fact that they go down. Whoa! Did you hear my voice crack? Because they go down a mana here. And there's Coyote. And with that said, they concede. Okay, very cool. And kind of an old school mono red feeling deck where they're not really necessarily playing the Scamp or the other creature that flings. They're really focused on playing creatures and a card that I thought rotated. But with that said, we hit diamond with this deck list. Feels good. Feels good. Okay, so here we are with Golgari lands. This is a list that Covert kind of came up with, and it incredibly sparked my interest whenever I looked at it. And it's playing a lot of cards that I enjoy, and the color combination I enjoy quite a lot. And I end up trimming some things, adding some things, kind of. And one of the main reasons I opted to play this is getting to play Bristly Bill with Vinelasher and Freestrider Lookout. These cards all together are super sick, and we don't really get to see this played in Lizards, even though it does have an ability that, like a lot of other decks could use. We have this Lookout, which was a really cool card. I was pretty happy with this card. I really do wish, though, it was a 2/4. That'd be a lot better. just on the fact that it would live through a lot more things. Like Lightning Strike couldn't answer it. With that said, just Lightning Strike answers it. But 3 toughness is typically kind of the number. For example, like I can't even block my opponent's Mosswood Dread Knight because it would trade it off, and that's actually worse value for me. Being 4 toughness is significantly better. Also makes it a better blocker against red, where red can pretty much always remove this with 1 prowess trigger, so that kind of sucks. But it's not necessarily the worst thing in the world. Whenever we have Bristly Bill, it could potentially grow it. Bristly Bill being a very expensive card, at least in paper. By expensive, it's like $18, I think, 18 to 22 in paper and USD, but that's a cool card. And the other thing that we get to come back and play is Blossoming Tortoise. CGB put too many cards in here that I was too interested in, and I felt like I had to play it. But I did make changes, like I said. I went down on 1 bill, legendary creature. Don't want a ton of those in the opener. And I went down 1 tortoise, which might be wrong. I wouldn't even be opposed to kind of cutting like the Shoot the Sheriff here, because I added in 2 virtues. So I feel better actually about like this maybe kind of, or maybe like adding this back in, because Slick Shot and stuff does not get removed by the Shoot the Sheriff. So I think I would opt for this a little bit more, just so I can consistently find the tortoise a bit more. But I feel like with as much mana ramp as we have, if we don't have the Vinelasher combo going like we did in the 1 game where it actually went insane, which was very cool, we need to find a top end card that's just good, and we have the removal that we want for most matchups. Also, I think here I'd probably be like this even more, so kind of leaning into the better removal. But with that said, Virtue sick, and having the tortoise get us to the virtue super dope, and tortoise being able to put a lot of pressure in with the creature lands, and then also having virtue to buy back our stuff is super cool. So I enjoyed the list a lot. I think I want to workshop it, play with it a little bit more. This deck's super cool, and full credit to Covert Go Blue on this one for sharing. He's cooking up a really sweet deck here. I made obviously a couple changes. This is my play style. It's a little bit different, of course. But with that said, I hope you all enjoyed the video regardless, and I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.